Hi, and welcome to the screencast about the Views and Values SAC. This short presentation is designed to tell you about the next SAC and how it's going to be assessed. This is Unit 3, Outcome 2 in Year 12 VCE Literature at MLC. So, in the next few minutes, I'll take you through each of the criteria and what they actually mean. Okay, let's look at this SAC. Hi, and welcome to the screencast about the Views and Values SAC. This short presentation is designed to tell you about the next SAC and how it's going to be assessed. This is Unit 3, Outcome 2 in Year 12 VCE Literature at MLC. So, in the next few minutes, I'll take you through each of the criteria and what they actually mean. Okay, let's look at this SAC in a bit more detail. Like the first SAC, this will be completed over 2 lessons. You'll be handing in the work at the end of the first lesson, and then you'll get it back at the end of the second. I encourage you to spend some time, maybe up to half an hour in the first lesson planning and then begin writing. One big difference though with this SAC, which is worth the same 40 marks as the previous one, is that you'll be asked to choose and develop your own essay topic before the SAC and have that approved by your teacher. So importantly, this is going to help you, we hope, focus and really choose a good direction for your essay, because it's such a big open-ended task that you need to be a bit focused. So you need to develop an essay question, and then you'll be getting that approved before you start. First criteria is context, understanding the context. Okay, so what's involved in this SAC? Let's have a look at how it works. These are the assessment criteria for Unit 3 Outcome 2, and there's 5 of them, and each of them is worth 8 marks, up to 8 marks each. So unlike the first SAC where there was one that was more important than the other, all these are worth the same amount, 8 marks each. So let's look at them one by one, especially in terms of that very high criteria, to see what each of these actually mean. First criteria is context, understanding the context of the text. This is really the background, the history, the historical period, the ideas that were important for those authors and where they came from. In other words, if you're doing Adrienne Rich, you need to develop and show an understanding of the fact that she was writing in the 60s and 70s in pretty turbulent political times, where the growth of feminism, the Vietnam War, and other kind of social civil rights issues were very prominent, including the beginnings of the gay rights movement. So the context of the text is really to do with the kind of historical period or society from which this author emerged, and it needs to be, like all the other criteria, really clearly addressed. The next one is the analysis of the views and values. What viewpoints about society, what values are emerging in this writer? What do the poems endorse, that means support, in favour of? And what do these poems challenge, criticise, condemn? And even are there things left unquestioned? You don't have to, you probably can't deal with all of the viewpoints and values, and that's where your essay question comes in, where you talk about a particular group of them or a particular set of opinions and viewpoints. It's important that words like viewpoint and words like values are actually in your essay. So the examiner, in this case me and Ms. Harris, can actually point to where you're addressing the criteria of views and values. This criteria is perhaps the trickiest to explain and think about, an understanding of the ways in which the text critiques human behaviour and of society, and also of awareness of differences in possible interpretations. It's a bit like the views and values one, but an extension of it. How is this text being critical of human behaviour, or critiquing, illustrating, showing us examples of the society, but also being aware that we probably can't read Adrienne Rich in the same way that readers in the 60s and 70s would have read her. That 21st century readers like you, and with the results of changes in history, really do see this text a little bit differently. it perhaps isn't as provocative, perhaps isn't as startling as it would have perhaps seemed then. The next criteria is attention to textual detail. The best examples, the best essays will have highly developed abilities to justify an interpretation through close attention to selection and use of significant textual detail. This is quoting. This is working with individual poems. This is talking about individual language in individual poems. And as I said in class, probably being able to talk about multiple examples through multiple poems. This is the evidence that backs up your essay. Finally, the last criteria is to do, again, as it was in the first SAC, with expression and development of ideas. This is to do with how well the essay is written, how fluent it is, how expressive it is, the kind of words you use, the kind of language that you're capable of showing, and also how the essay is constructed, its coherence, the development of the ideas. Has it got a clear introduction? Is it well paragraphed? Has it got a clear conclusion? And this essay, like the first one, does need to have that, that traditional essay format. It's not a passage analysis. It is a more formal and structured kind of essay. So that takes us through the 5 criteria for the next SAC. Feel free to replay this and listen to it again if you've missed any details, and certainly email me if you have any more questions. Good luck with your preparation.